On this video, I'm going to be sharing a little bit about this book, The Law of Success by Napoleon Hill, and why it's probably one of the most important books that you read before the end of this year. Hey, what's up guys? Nick Arapoulos here. Welcome to today's video. Really excited to have you here. As I mentioned, I'm going to be sharing a little bit more about this book, The Law of Success by our boy, Napoleon Hill. Now, if you've been on this YouTube channel for any period of time, you may have watched this video where we talked about Think and Grow Rich. I think we actually made 2 videos about Think and Grow Rich, and that's a phenomenal book. But as I've started to dive into a little bit more personal development recently and the whole understandings of the law of attraction, I actually came across this book, and I've had this book for a little bit, but what they're saying is that this book is really so much more like head and shoulders above Think and Grow Rich. And I'm gonna be explaining on this video why that is, why you wanna read this book, the story, everything behind it. So I wanna share just the insights and the knowledge of why this book is very important. And then I'm gonna give a few insights into this book. And then as I continue to read more and more of this book, I'm gonna probably make a following video to this video that discusses a little bit more. Okay, so if you guys are interested in me actually making a follow-up video to this video, once I get through a little bit more of this book, put it down in the comments, let me know that you would be interested in that, and then we can kind of take it from there and just continue to discuss this book more and more and more, because this is one of the most important books. And of course, make sure and subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Hit the like down below if this is a video that you really enjoy, and then comment down below on what you got out of this video, because it always helps me understand what's going through your guys' mind, what helps you, and just if you have any suggestions, comments, concerns, anything like that, so I can understand you guys more, so I can make content that is more relevant to you and help you guys out more. Okay, so let's talk about this. I want to talk about the story about this whole thing. So as I've mentioned in some of my previous videos about Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, they talk about how Napoleon Hill, he's really kind of the godfather of personal development. And they talk about how Think and Grow Rich is some of his best work. And just to even give you a little bit more backstory is that they say that Napoleon Hill's work has created more millionaires than any other work combined. So essentially what they're saying is that Napoleon his work is really the source of everything. And then everybody else is kind of splintered off and taking pieces of what Napoleon Hill teaches, and it's just like this is the water well, and then everyone is scooping up their bottles and their buckets and taking it over and letting people drink their buckets, right? Essentially that's kind of a metaphor for saying people are learning directly from Napoleon Hill, and then they're going out there and they're writing their books, they're creating their courses, they're doing all what they want to do, but it all stemmed from right here. Okay, and again, we talked about Think and Grow Rich, and most people think that is the source, which it's a lot of good information, but the reason that book is so popularized and just mainstream in the media is that it's a little bit more commercialized. It's a little bit more, has a little bit more sizzle. This book is probably not as sexy, and I mean, look at it. It's a thick one, right? And so it's not like most people wouldn't be like, oh, I just want to read that 700-page book, right? They'd rather read the 150, 200-page book. It's a little bit easier to digest because it's just less information, right? So what's happening is the fact that there's a reason that this is the source. Okay, so let me give you a little bit more backstory on where this came together and why Napoleon Hill became this author of this amazing book. Basically, he was just a lowly reporter back in the 20s, and Andrew Carnegie, who was the richest man at the time, offered Hill a proposition, a challenge to go out and interview the most successful people, find their commonalities, and write a book about it. And that's exactly what is in here. So then they said, okay, well, we actually want to disperse this out to more people, but we want to keep out a few little important things. And so then that's really what they put into Think and Grow Rich. So essentially, Think and Grow Rich is a smaller, watered down version of this, right? Think and Grow Rich is just a little piece of this guy, The Law of Success. So with that said, I strongly recommend that you read this book for your own and really master this stuff and learn this stuff and know this stuff. Because it's one thing to read a book, but it's another thing to actually read the book, take notes, understand it, go through it a few times, continue to take notes, maybe even test yourself on it, and then really know it so that you can recite it and make a video about it, have a conversation about it, however you like to disperse information and teach other people. That is when you're going to really know it, because really at the core level, what you have to do in order to be successful and really know this stuff and just internalize this stuff is it has to become part of your DNA, okay? And I know that sounds extreme, but when you know something to the degree where you can just go for hours and hours of talking about it and teaching about it, that's when it's actually embedded into your DNA. And that's what the rich, the most successful people truly believe, that the only way that you're gonna be successful is if you had the right DNA. And this is basically a hack to change your DNA. So I know that's kind of complex and maybe it sounds a little out there, but it's true. I've been learning from these sources and these places where they don't share any of this type of information anywhere else. I've felt very fortunate that I've actually come across this stuff, but it's a game changer for sure. And they talk about the main basic books that you always want to be learning, and this is, again, the main one. So I want to share with you 3 specific things on this video about this particular book. But again, I strongly recommend that you go through this book, you read it, you understand it, you test yourself, you recite it, you take notes, you do the whole thing so that you can know this at a very, very core level. You want to go over this book several times if you really want to be successful, okay? So I want to share 3 specific things that I got from this book and that's going to help you. Okay, the first one is have a definite and clear and a specific chief aim. And basically what that means is have a dream, have a desire, have something you're going after. Because if you don't have a North Star, you don't have something that's guiding you, you're gonna get lost. Just think about it from a perspective of if you were going and taking a drive. And think about it like this. You have your GPS on your iPhone or whatever phone you use, or however you use a GPS system. You plug in the address, right? You know exactly where you're going. Therefore, it gives you turn-by-turn direction, and all of a sudden, by the end of it, you are exactly where you want to go. That's having a definite chief aim. That's having a clear direction. That's knowing exactly where you want to go. Think about it from a different perspective. What if you just get in the car and you don't use the GPS and you just start driving? You have no idea where anything is, what everything is, and you just start driving. You're like, I hope I land at a McDonald's, or I hope I land at a Outback Steakhouse, or whatever it is. You might get there. There's a small chance that you might get there, but if you don't know the area and you don't know exactly where you're going, you're just gonna get anywhere, right? It's just like having a ship that's floating around at sea. It's gonna end up anywhere. The sea's gonna take you wherever the sea wants to take you, right? And that's what's happening in society today, is that mass media is guiding you to where they want you to go. And they do not have your best interest in heart. They want you to be scared, they want you to be fearful so that you buy more stuff. Instead of, if you know exactly where you're going, then you can cut through that and you won't have to worry about that. So that is probably one of the biggest things that I've learned from Napoleon Hill, is have a definite chief aim, and then 2, have a burning desire for that. It's great to have a definite chief aim. It's great to have a desire and a dream to go after, but unless you have a burning desire to go out there and get it, it's not as likely. Unless you really go out there and just hammer and just, I'm so engulfed by this, and you're obsessed by that, until you have that on your definite chief aim, you're not gonna really hit the marks that you really want. So have a definite chief aim. Have a burning desire for its achievement. And then thirdly, is that it's all about the mastermind, right? The mastermind. And what that means is you want to continue to surround yourself with the right types of people. Now, this can come in a lot of different variations. I strongly recommend that you get in person. That's going to be the biggest and best. I have a mastermind that I'm a part of that has absolutely changed the game for me. It's been phenomenal. And that is the best mastermind that I've ever been a part of. But it's taken me probably about 8 years to figure out a mastermind that actually worked. Now, we're actually putting together a program at some point and teaching people how to put together their own masterminds. That's down the road, but I strongly recommend that you work towards that and get people in your mastermind that are thinking the same way, that invest in themselves, read books like these so you guys can discuss that type of stuff, and people that are going places and thinking they have definite chief aims, they have burning desires to get there. You don't want to just get in a mastermind with just anybody, because that plays a big factor. But with that said, if you can't do the in-person mastermind, just start getting around the right types of people. Essentially, you can have a virtual mastermind where you're not necessarily, getting together every week, but if you can constantly be plugging into the right types of people and just staying away from the garbage, staying away from people that are not helping you, are not serving you, that is going to help you significantly. That's how I started. That's how some of my best friends, my most successful mentors, they all started by watching people online and just constantly throwing stuff in their mind, throwing stuff in their ears, listening to audios, reading books, going to events. They started just hammering that stuff with good stuff rather than a lot of the other stuff that's not so good. So those are the 3 things I want to share with you. Have a definite chief aim, have a burning desire for achieving it, and utilize the mastermind. Get around the right types of people, constantly feed yourself the right types of material that's only going to help you, okay? So thank you for watching this video, guys. Again, if you would like me to make a follow-up video to this once I'm a little bit more finished on this and I have a little bit more of a conclusion of this book, but also just a recap and overview so that you guys can understand my perspective, and then maybe you guys can put some comments down below on what your perspective of the book is as well. So let me know if you would like me to make a follow-up video, and if you have not watched the Think and Grow Rich video that I made, make sure and go watch that as well. Comment on this video, let me know what you got most out of this. Let me know if you're actually going to read this book. And yeah, guys, appreciate you. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here, share this with some friends, and we look forward to seeing you on the next video.
Tonight.